Welcome to the 1000 Nights and 1 Night. Now, when it was the 161st night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that the jeweler bade him goodbye, and fared forth not knowing what he should do to win him his wishes. And he ceased not walking while over musing the matter, till he spied a letter lying on the road. He took it up, and looked at its direction and superscription, then read it, and behold, it ran, From the least worthy of lovers to the most beloved of beloves. So he opened it, and found these words wherein it said, A messenger from thee came bringing union hope, but that he erred somehow with me, the thought prevailed. So I rejoiced not, rather grew more grief still more, weeting my messenger of wits and wit had failed. But afterwards, know, O my lord, that I ken not the reason why our correspondence between thee and me hath been broken off. But if the cruelty arise from thy part, I will requite it with fidelity. And if thy love hath departed, I will remain constant to my love of the parted. For I am with thee, even as the poet said, Be proud, I'll crouch, bully, I'll bear, despise, I'll pray, go, I will come, speak, I will hear, bid, I'll obey. As he was reading, lo, up came the slave girl, looking right and left, and seeking the paper in the jeweler's hand, said to him, O my master, this letter is one I let fall. He made her no answer, but walked on, and she walked behind him till he came to his house, when he entered, and she after him, saying, O my master, give me back this letter, for it fell from me. Thereupon he turned to her and said, O handmaid of good, fear not, neither grieve, nor verily Allah the Protector loveth those who protect. But tell me in truthful way thy case, as I am one who keepeth counsel. I conjure thee by an oath not to hide from me aught of thy lady's affairs, for haply Allah shall help me to further her wishes, and make easy by my hand that which is hard. When the slave girl heard these words, she said, O my lord, indeed a secret is not lost, whereof thou art the secretest, nor shall any affair come to naught for which thou strivest. Know that my heart inclineth to thee, and would interest thee with my tidings, but do thou give me the letter. Then she told him the whole story, adding, Allah is witness to whatso I say. Quoth he, Thou hast spoken truly, for I am acquainted with the root of the matter. Then he told her his tale of Ali bin Bakkar, and how he had learnt his state of mind, and related to her all that had passed from first to last, whereat she rejoiced. And they two agreed that she should take the letter and carry it to Ali, and return the jeweler with all that had happened. So he gave her the letter, and she took it and sealed it up as it was before, saying, My mistress Shams al-Nahar gave it to me sealed, and when he hath read it and given me its reply, I will bring it back to thee. Then she took leave and repaired to Ali bin Bakkar, whom she found waiting, and gave him the letter. He read it, and writing a paper by way of reply, gave it to her, and she carried it to the jeweler, who tore asunder the seal and read it, and found written therein these two couplets. The messenger who kept our commerce hid hath failed, and showeth wrath without disguise. Choose one more leal from your many friends, who doth prove and disapproves of lies. To proceed, verily, I have not entered under perfidy, nor have I abandoned fidelity. I have not used cruelty, neither have I put off lealty, nor covenant hath been broken by me, nor hath love tie been severed by me. I have not parted from penitence, nor have I fought or found aught but misery and ruin after severance. I know nothing of that which thou avowest, nor do I love aught but that which thou lovest. By him who knoweth the secret of hidden things none discover. I have no desire save union with my lover, and my one business is my passion to conceal, albeit with sore sickness I ail. This is the exposition of my case, and now all hail. When the jeweler read this letter, and learnt its contents, he wept with sore weeping. And the slave girl saith to him, Leave not this place till I return to thee, for he suspecteth me of such and such things, in which he is excusable. So it is my desire to bring about a meeting between thee and my mistress, Shams al-Nahar, howsoever I may trick you to it. For the present I left her prostrate, awaiting my return with a reply. Then she went away, and the jeweler passed the night with a troubled mind. And when the day dawned, he prayed his dawn prayer, and sat expecting the girl's coming, and beheld she came in to him rejoicing with much joy, and he asked her, What news, O damsel? She answered, After leaving thee, I went to my mistress, and gave her the letter written by Ali bin Bakkar, and when she read it and understood it, she was troubled and confounded. But I said to her, O my lady, have no fear of your affair being frustrated by Abu al-Hasan's disappearance, for I have found one to take his place, better than he, and more of worth, and a good man to keep secrets. Then I told her what was between thyself and Abu al-Hasan, and how thou camest by his confidence, and that of Ali bin Bakkar, and how that note was dropped, and thou camest by it. And I also showed her how we arranged matters betwixt me and thee. The jeweler marveled with much wonder when she resumed, And now my mistress would also hear what thou sayest, that she may be assured by thy speech of the covenants between thee and him. So get thee ready to go with me to her forthwith. When the jeweler heard the slave girl's words, she saw that the proposed affair was grave, and a great peril to brave, not lightly to be undertaken or suddenly entered upon, and he said to her, O my sister, verily I am of the ordinary, and not like unto Abu al-Hasan, for he being of high rank and of well-known repute, was wont to frequent the Caliph's household because of the need of his merchandise. As for me, he used to talk with me, and I trembled before him the while. So if thy mistress would speak with me, our meeting must be in some place other than Caliph's palace, and far from the abode of the commander of the faithful. For my common sense will not let me consent to what thou proposest. On this wise he refused to go with her, and she went on to say that she would be surety for his safety, adding, Take heart, and fear no harm, and pressed him to courage till he consented to accompany her. Withal his legs bent and shivered, and his hands quivered, and he exclaimed, Allah forbid that I should go with thee. Indeed, I have not strength to do this thing. Replied she, Hearten thy heart. If it be hard for thee to go to the Caliph's palace, and thou canst not muster up the courage to accompany me, I will make her come to thee. So budge not from thy place till I return to thee with her. Then the slave girl went away, and was absent for a while. But a short while after which she returned to the jeweler, and said to her, Take thou care that there be with thee none save thyself, neither manservant nor girl-slave. Quoth he, I have but a negress who is in years, and who waiteth on me. So she arose and locked the doors between his negress and the jeweler, and sent his manservants out of the place. After which she fared forth, and presently returned, followed by a lady who, entering the house, filled it with the sweet scent of her perfumes. When the jeweler saw her, he sprang up and set her couch in a cushion, and she sat down while he seated himself before her. She abode a while without speaking till she had rested herself, when she unveiled her face, and it seemed to the jeweler's fancy as if the sun had risen in his home. Then she asked her slave girl, Is this the man of whom thou speakest to me? Yes, answered she, whereupon the lady turned to the jeweler and said to him, How is it with thee? Replied he, Right well. I pray Allah for thy preservation, and that of the commander of the faithful. Quoth she, Thou hast moved us to come to thee, and possess thee with what we hold secret. Then she questioned him of his household and family, and he disclosed to her all his circumstances and all his conditions, and said to her, I have a house other than this, and I have set it apart for gathering together my friends and brethren, and there is none there save the old negress of whom I spoke to thy handmaid. She asked him on what wise he came first to know how the affair began, and the matter of Abu al-Hasan, and the cause of his wayfaring. Accordingly he told her all he knew, and how he had advised the journey. Thereupon she bewailed the loss of Abu al-Hasan, and said to the jeweler, Know, O such an one, that men's souls are active in their lusts, and that men are still men, and that deeds are not done without words, nor is end and ever reached without endeavor. Rest is won only by work. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. And now, when it was the 162nd night, she said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Shams al-Nahar thus addressed the jeweler. Rest is gained only by work, and success is gendered only by help of the generous. Now I have acquainted thee with our affair, and it is in thy hand to expose us or to shield us. I say no more, because thy generosity requireth naught. Thou knowest that this my handmaid keepeth my counsel, and therefore occupieth high place in my favor, and I have selected her to transact my affairs of importance. So let none be worthier in thy sight than she, and acquaint her with thine affair. And be of good cheer, for on her account thou art safe from all fear, and there is no place shut upon thee, but she shall open it to thee. She shall bring thee my messages to Ali bin Bakkar, and thou shalt be our intermediary." So saying, she rose, scarcely able to rise, and fared forth, the jeweler faring before her to the door of her house, after which he returned and sat down again in his place, having seen of her beauty, heard of her speech what dazzled him, and dazed his wit, and having witnessed of her grace and courtesy what bewitcheth his sprite. He sat musing on her perfections till his mind waxed tranquil, when he called for food, and ate enough to keep soul and body together. Then he changed his clothes and went out, and repairing to the house of the youth Ali bin Bakkar, knocked at the door. The servants hastened to admit him, and walked before him till they had brought him to their master, whom he found strown upon his bed. Now when he saw the jeweler, he said to him, "Thou hast tarried long from me, and that hath heaped care upon my care." Then he dismissed his servants, and bade the doors be shut. After which he said to the jeweler, "O Allah, O my brother, I have not closed my eyes since the day I last saw thee. For the slave girl came to me yesterday with a sealed letter from her mistress, Shams al-Nahar, and went on to tell him all that had passed, with her adding, 'By the Lord, I am indeed perplexed concerning mine affair, with my patience faileth me. For Abu al-Hasan was a comforter, who cheered me because he knew the slave girl.' When the jeweler heard his words, he laughed and Allah said, 'Why dost thou laugh at my words, thou on whose coming I congratulated myself, and to whom I looked for provisions against the shifts of fortune?' Then he sighed, and he wept, and he repeated these couplets: 'Full many laughs at tears they saw me shed, who had shed tears, and bore they what I bore. None feeleth pity for the afflicted woe, save one as anxious and in woe galore. My passion, yearning, sighing, thought, repine, are for me cornered in my heart's deep core. He made a home there which he never quits, yet rare are meetings not as heretofore. No friend established in his place I see, no intimate, but only he, and he.'" Now, when the jeweler heard these lines and understood their significance, he wept also, and told him all that had passed betwixt himself and the slave girl and her mistress since he left them. And Ali bin Bakkar gave ear to his speech, and at every word he heard his color shifted from white to red, and his body grew now stronger and then weaker, till the tale came to an end, when he wept and said, "O my brother, I am a lost man in any case. Would mine end were nigh, that I might be at rest from all this. But I beg of thee thy favor, to be my helper and comforter in all my affairs, till Allah fulfill whatso be his will, and I will not gainsay thee with a single word." Quoth the jeweler, "Nothing will quench thy fire save union with her whom thou lovest, and the meeting must be in other than this perilous place. Better it were in a house of mine, where the girl and her mistress met me, which place she chose for herself, to the intent that ye twain may there meet, and complain to each other of what you have suffered from the pangs of love." Quoth Ali bin Bakkar, O good sir, do as thou wilt, and with Allah be thy reward. And what thou deemest is right, do it forthright, but be not long in doing it, lest I perish of this anguish. So I abode with him, said the jeweler, that night conversing with him, till the morning morrowed, and Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased saying her permitted say. And so do I cease telling of this tale for today, until it be morrow.